It's Javi from Batman on Film with a live unboxing of the new Hot Toys just released DX19. This is a 1/6 scale figure of Batman from The Dark Knight Rises. So let's see what we got inside the box. So all right, we got a little DC logo and DX19. Put that out of the way. All right. That has already got some really nice texturing to the box. Even with the plastic on, I can see nice silver metallic Dark Knight Bat logo. DX19 Batman. And we got Christian Bale. All right. I don't know where our box cutter went, so I've got to use this weird kitchen knife. Some plastic. You can just see that logo just pop right off the box. There's a great soft texture to it as well. And look at that, Batman Defender of Gotham City. This is my second deluxe figure. I've got a deluxe Mandalorian, which the box is also pretty big, just like this one. But I've never had one that opens this way before, off to the side. We've got a, looks like it's a felt keychain. Yeah, there's a key ring right here. Got a Batman logo on it. All right, random piece of cardboard. Give you guys a close-up look at this. Again, Batman Defender of Gotham City. Don't remember anyone proclaiming that necessarily in the movies, but hey, why not? All right. So you can see, we'll move in a little bit closer here. We have a newly developed Christian Bale Bruce Wayne head sculpt, a new helmeted head with LED light-up eyes. So yeah, this will be able to simulate the end of the Dark Knight. And apparently a newly developed Batman head as well. I don't have many figures that have the rolling eyeballs. I think the only one that I do have is Michael Keaton from Batman Returns. But we'll take a closer look at Bale. But first, some close-up details. Man, look at that belt. Okay. Let's get this guy out of here. Free him from his box prison. I like how they, point out the different things that have changed from this version. They've had a previous, I believe it was the DX12, that was the Armory edition. Let's look at this guy laying in the box. Got several sets of hands, some of his weapons, batarangs, sticky bombs. Another look at Christian Bale. That is definitely a Bale mouth sculpt. Oh, and here we have the extra chins, the extra expressions. We have a sticky bomb gun from The Dark Knight. His EMP gun from The Dark Knight Rises, and his grapnel gun. Man, they really have him secured in here really nice. It's totally different than the other Hot Toys that I've had before. I've never had one quite in this foam package. Usually it's just a clear plastic package like this. I'm going to pause here just for a second so I can get him out of the box. So here he is fresh out of the box. I haven't posed him yet other than his feet, just so he doesn't fall over right now. But this is what he looks like the second you take him out of the box. Again, no posing on this. This is just how he is. We haven't put on his cape yet, but you can see from here where I'm assuming that's going to go in. Again, I love this carbon fiber detail. All right, let's see what else we got in here. All right, now this is something I'm more familiar with, this type of plastic. Here we have the instruction sheet, his base, which is clearly from the end of The Dark Knight Rises. LED batteries. This looks like the device to move his eyes. And then, of course, we have the cape. So we get this out of here. All right, that's the end of the box. A little close-up look here at the cape and how it's affixed into the packaging. So yeah, clearly I want to read this because this may be how it hooks into the figure. I don't want to cut these off by accident. So I am going to have to look at this manual really quick. Before we bust out that manual though, here's the base. It looks like this was supposed to have a screw so you could put in batteries. These spots right here on my Batman Returns base are LED lights that project up on the figure, but I'm assuming that this doesn't have that capability. I don't remember that being advertised. But just some great texturing here on the base. Let me tell you, getting these 3 batteries in here was a trial of errors. I definitely had to use a pair of tweezers, and once I did, when I got that 3rd one in, it still popped them out. The fact that they're staying right now is nothing short of a miracle. But you put the batteries in here, put the cover back on. As you can see, there's a little on-off switch to activate the LED. And now you've got lights. And it slides back to look like the movie as well. But what you're not seeing, what they didn't include was a bullet from the GCPD as they fired on Batman. As you can see, Hot Toys clearly makes it challenging trying to get the 3 little batteries inside this head. But the likeness, the cowl shape, it's just spot on. So give me a minute while I try and figure how to put these in here. There we go. Careful with those LEDs, kids. So now he's ready to take on the GCPD with his sonar. But if you're not a fan of wide-eyed Batman and you want to see the actor's eyes, well, we'll look into that in just a second. So here's the regular head with the eyes. It's pretty easy. Like I said, it's just, you can feel the magnets keeping the head on place. We're going to remove the head for just a second. You can see where you can pop out the faceplate and change that out, and those 2 things move his eyes. We're going to try and figure out, get this cape on properly. I really appreciate this little soft lining here to go against the back of the figure. Actually, we'll take a quick look at this. You can mount one of the gadgets in his back of the utility belt. Obviously, it shouldn't be this high, but just push it down a little bit. It goes easy enough. All right, and allegedly, just slide this in here. Yep, locked in easy enough. Now I know there are a lot of custom cape people out there who try to make things a little more screen accurate. This one looks pretty good to me. I'm not really looking for anything beyond this, I don't think. Unless you want like a wire cape. This one is not wired. So if you want one of those dynamic poses in your figure on display, You may want to invest in like a cape that's got a wire in the line, but I'm good with it. Just draping. So there we go. Cape is inserted correctly. Get these things out of here. Line up the utility belt a little bit better. I don't think I ever really appreciated the gears that were in his belt either, for the buckle. All right, so simple enough. We'll just pop the head back on. And there's Christian Bale with the cowl. All right, let me swap out headpieces and we'll look at the eyes next. All right, so with this end of the tool they give us, it's pretty easy to pop out the mouth like so. This is magnets that hold it in place. We'll go ahead and give them this open chin. Cinch it in like so. Yeah, it looks pretty flush. Tell me about the rabbits. Yeah, sorry. I always love the Batman Begins video game where you see the bonus features and you got Christian Bale in the recording booth just clenching his hands and delivering his dialogue. It's awesome. If you haven't seen it, it's on the PS2 Batman Begins game. It's probably up on YouTube. There's a making of. But so let me switch to the other end of the tool and you just lock it in place. And with that, you're, whoa, free to move the eyeballs around. That is terrifying. Moved it around a little too much. So you got pretty good range of the eye motion here. So you can pretend you got hit in the head by Harley Quinn. Zoom a little bit closer and give some side eye there. Realign the eyes, changed expressions again, just to give you a different look. I'm going to try the Christian Bale head sculpt next. I didn't realize that in the package here with some of the artillery that it also has a neck piece that you swap in on the head to put in the Christian Bale neck. So let's give that a go next. Comes off easy enough. Give you a close-up look at Bale. Just an excellent likeness. I love how the light catches his eyes. That's our cat Thea whining that she's not in the video. So it's simple enough. Slide his head on the collar. Hey, look what I just found out. This capsule comes off. So be careful when you're putting the head on the utility belt because pieces do come off apparently. That is Bruce Wayne. That is Christian Bale. Again, you can see the utility belt where the piece came off, but it looks easily enough Just pop it back on. Thank goodness. Back here you can affix his gun to his utility belt. We'll take a quick look at his sticky bomb gun. Just the amount of detail that goes into this is pretty incredible. And you do have to stretch it out like this because the piece is collapsible. So you do get that working action from the movies where it can slide up and down. As well as this extends, flips around, so you can fire it. This slides as well. But it's pretty cool. They definitely put a lot of work into making everything compact and work like it did in the film. And just a little attention to details with the rivets. On the other side, you have the knob to adjust the timers, but that does not work. But even still, you can see there's the faintest trace of a number 30. Or is it 230 on the timers? Yeah, that would coincide with the movie. But a pretty awesome gadget to have. Give you a front view as well. So you can see him in some natural light. The carbon fiber detailing on this figure is incredible, and I love the bodysuit underneath. The utility belt is actually made of little pieces, so there is some movement to it, although I do think that piece is supposed to be fixed. I tried to move it on this side, it didn't work. It's holding in well enough, but maybe I'll just give a little bit of sticky glue to it so it doesn't fall off again in the display. Standard crotch grabber. I do like the snow details on the base as well. We've got some good movement in the arms. You can see how the plates, the shoulder plates are a little free-flowing compared to the rest of it. Let's do a quick look here at the gauntlets. Obviously this is pretty crucial to the end of The Dark Knight, and I really love how they captured both aspects of the blades. The Batman Returns one felt very fragile, and this kind of does too, but not quite as delicate as the Batman Returns version. But again, the amount of detail on this figure, it's where you see the 1/6 scale really pays off. All right, let's put him back on the Batman head and do a couple of quick pose videos. Quick pose shots. Before we get to the pose shots, there are obviously the two enclosed fists that it comes mounted on the figure, and then we have various open-handed grasping hands to hold the different weapons. We've got a great range of motion here with the head, in part because of the magnets, but it was so easy to swap this neck piece back in from the bale. Same with getting the hands on. Able to get the arms up pretty high, thanks to how they constructed the costume. And even his feet have some great mobility to the joints. So we've got the EMP gun. You can see this arm can go up pretty high if you want it to. The sticky bomb there. Got the blades on the gauntlet in full effect. even the gloves have just a tremendous amount of detail sculpted into them. The sonar head in effect with the EMP gun to give you some of the lighting details here. EMP gun obviously not as bright as the head, so getting some of the lighting effects, especially in this light, maybe not the best, maybe not as good as complete darkness, but I wanted to be able to see the figure sculpt still. You can really push this pose. I was a little reticent on getting another Batman figure because I knew, based on my Batman Returns figure, that there's not a lot. Like, he can pose, but you don't want to strain the rubber suit if you want it to last a while over time. So you don't want him to hold a pose forever. So my Batman Returns is basically in a museum pose, but with the undersuit, how this is basically just rubber on top of cloth. I feel like I can be a little more dynamic when I eventually decide to put him up on display in terms of like poses and accuracy, but he can hold this gun pretty decently. And I'm sure someone could probably get it a little bit better than I did. I'm not the most experienced poser when it comes to my Hot Toys, but I feel like I have a lot more freedom in how I display this Batman than I do Michael Keaton. All right, so here we have two Batman on film, speaking of Michael Keaton. As you can see from the display base, I turned on the LED lights for this one. Obviously this has something similar, but again, for whatever reason they didn't include lights. I don't know how much more that would have sent up the price. But quick look at Michael Keaton. He's got his batarang from Batman Returns and those gauntlet gloves I was talking about earlier with the points. Like, you really have to be careful with those. They're actually pretty sharp too. This is the original cape that he came with. I know lots of people have modded it. It does have some wires to it, but not a whole lot of strength to them. Obviously his base is a little bit lower than Bale's, but they're both the same scale. So let's take them off their bases and look at them side by side. I suppose a little more Michael Keaton's arm, so you can just see the details on his rubber suit. But again, there's not a lot of give here. Like, when you bend it, it looks awkward. And that's why I tend to have them in more a static museum pose. But side by side, they look pretty good to each other. We'll do a quick back to front here. Now, of course, in real life, Christian Bale is taller than Michael Keaton, so this also kind of makes sense why he seems a little bit taller. But then again, it's hard to tell Michael Keaton kind of leaning forward. Just another look at Keaton again. You can see how the rubber suit just puckers up, and you don't want to leave it in that pose for too long. Michael Keaton does also have the adjustable eyes, and he has two different faceplates, more of a closed mouth and then more of a half expression on this one. But Team Yellow Oval for sure. Back to Christian Bale. Just some great range you get out of this suit. Give you a little more of the texture on the side. I mean, it's just incredible. They did a really good job with the stitching and how the armor holds together. And I'm hoping that when Pattinson comes out with the Batman figure from Hot Toys, that the suit holds up as well as this one does. It definitely looks to be, based on the preliminary photos we've seen, with the fabric stitching on it. And they're also working on a more accurate Pattinson head sculpt as well. So if you didn't like how the first one that they debuted looked, they're going to make some changes. I love the cape drapage. And just for me, the cloth capes, the leather looks cool, not going to lie. but it's harder to pose, at least at this length and the heaviness of this material. This gives you greater flow, and it just drapes beautifully. With the range of motion, this magnet head gives you, he definitely doesn't have any problems, you know, turning his head down the driveway, as you can see. Little Val Kilmer looking side shot there, looking up really high. So yeah, if you push it too far, it's going to look a little odd, because that's just obviously not how it's going to work in real life or in that suit. But you can get some pretty incredible headshots. He's definitely not limited like old Keaton is. All right, Bat fans, we're going to wrap it up here. Just showing you, again, some of the accessories that you get with this DX19 version from Hot Toys. I've seen a couple of bloggers put the Christian Bale head on and then have him holding the sonar head at an angle so you can't see the fact that, you know, there's sculpted parts to it. So it looks like he's holding the cowl, which is pretty clever. I may try and do that for a display pose. Here we have the 3 different swap out face plates. And if you're on the fence about this, I know there have been other versions, but this is just magnificent. It is a masterpiece in 1/6 scale. The detail is beyond compare. This would be a great first edition if you've never had a Hot Toy before. So that's it for this time, Bat fans. Thanks for watching Batman on Film, the authoritative, the definitive, the daggum original.